This woman says, should young children of divorced parents be in therapy?
Well, that's a blanket, right? I don't know that I don't love all or nothing kinds of like statements, so I'm not likely to say yes to that. But I think that young children, I mean, maybe, and there are grief groups, right, that exist that aren't therapy per se, but a lot of churches have, I knew one called Raindrops or Rainbows or something, and the kids would go to and they would be able like process things, and they had artwork and stuff like that. So I would think there maybe to do something if your child is, this is a big, I see divorce as a form of a trauma for a child.
Oh yeah.
No matter what. And it's disruptive and there's a lot, and so I would ask more like, what does my child need right now in this process? Right. And for children, I mean, I love play therapy. I'm not a play therapist, but I have somebody in our group who is, and I just love what she does. And I feel like, because kids aren't going to sit for an hour and talk to a therapist, even if, it's just really difficult. And so, but for them to be, they have this thing called a sand tray, and they have these different kind of toys, and the therapist is watching them pick the toys and do the sand tray becomes an expression of their interior world. Shows up. It's like amazing. The child doesn't have to say very much. I mean, they might ask them some questions like, oh, why did you, or I noticed you did this, or whatever. But so there are therapies that are really great for kids. And so if a child is struggling in some way, but not communicating it through a divorce, I think something like play therapy can be really great. But maybe they don't need that. Like maybe a support group of some kind might be helpful. But the biggest thing there to me is, do your children feel safe? And so if this person might want to consult with a therapist if they need to, or I don't know if they're talking about themselves, but to how do I talk to my children about it? What do I need to do, to make that transition that's going to be difficult no matter what as less traumatic as possible.
Okay. Dr. Crete, what is your perspective on how Catholic husbands and fathers with long-term diagnosed depression and social anxiety should approach becoming part of their community to build healthy relationships with peers who are deep in the faith, but may perceive someone with social anxiety as a little off? I find that now, as an adult in my 40s, the widespread use of technology as a form of quasi-socialization has fostered deep isolation and lack of community, because it's easier to just go to work and come home to family than to make time for developing bonds with other men of faith. Thanks for your perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I need to, and I'm more of a visual person, so yeah. I'm taking that in and trying to figure out, okay, what is the person actually asking? Yeah. I heard social anxiety.
Yep.
And this is a father.
Yeah. Long-term diagnosed depression. Okay. Sounds like he's trying to build healthy relationships with peers.
Other men. Yeah.
But how do you do that when you might be perceived, it sounds like he's saying, is a little off?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's hard, right? I think, to be honest, I think most men, like if you're in your 40s and you have kids and you don't already have a network of men supporting you in some way, it's hard to cultivate out of nothing. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with social anxiety or not. Like, I think that is, for a lot of guys, like they're so busy with work pressures and then they've got kids. And it's like, it is a challenge for any man to build a male social support network, first of all. And so if he has social anxiety, then he is, and depression a lot of the time, I mean, to me, I would start with saying, well, maybe, how much work has he done on that? Because depression shouldn't be permanent. So, maybe working on getting out of a state of depression. Social anxiety doesn't have to be necessarily permanent, but it could be something.
What does that mean?
More, yeah, like, in other words, social environments make him anxious, right? It feels, might see it as awkward or uncomfortable. I think that, to me, that is tricky. But I would be looking for a safe place where this person could be himself. So if I'm thinking about a church, for example, not every ministry in a church are going to be necessarily accepting. I'd love to believe the Knights of Columbus would be, but I don't know that's always the case in every group, right?
Yeah.
I would think that if someone did a Curcio weekend, or somebody did some kind of like Christ Renews His Parish, there's these programs that are built around, like bringing people to Christ, but they're also built on community
Exodus
building.
90.
Yeah, that he might find that, the trick there is to be yourself in community, and finding that people will, maybe not everybody's going to fall in love with you, but like people will like you. And if you being more yourself is important, like not trying to pretend to be, the Mr. Popular or something, some perception of I have to be funny or something. No, just like go in and just be you, be kind of, see if, in little ways, like try to be open. Maybe just honest. Yeah, I'm an awkward guy and I have trouble, in social events, but here I am, like people will like that. Like people will tend to, unless it's a horrible church or something, like people will respond positively and, like take little steps, take little risks. I know it's hard, but in places that you're likely to receive support. Right. And maybe even some structured things. So like if it's a men's group that is like a small faith group, or like, an Exodus 90 group, and you hear there's some guys, they're looking for another guy to join their group or something, like you maybe just being in a group like that will, and allow yourself to be you're going to click with some people. And guess what? You may find other people with social anxiety also in those groups, and maybe you'll click with them first. So it is about taking risks, but I think that every guy needs a male support system. It took me a while to actually build that in some places. You were helpful when we were all living together in Atlanta, and doing some of that. But, the guys I meet with regularly, and they're all in different states, but we meet every week on a call, and we get together at least twice a year in person. They're Catholic psychologists. They're great guys. I don't know. Huge support to me. I think every guy needs something like that. So I hope this guy can find it. And there's so many options, and I don't know where he is or what's available to him in his area, but explore some of them.
Thank you very much for watching that Pints with Aquinas clip. If you like it, do me a favor, click like and subscribe, and please offer a Hail Mary for the work of Pints with Aquinas and all the people we're trying to reach. God bless you.